The conclusion, Yan Wu, Tahoe, 14. Enlightenment the key. Some take sitting wordlessly with eyes shut beneath the black mountain, inside the ghost cave, and consider it as the scene on the other side of the primordial Buddha, the scene before their parents were born. They also call it silent yet ever illuminating, and consider it Chan. This lot don't seek subtle, wondrous enlightenment. They consider enlightenment as falling into the secondary. They think that enlightenment deceives people, that enlightenment is a fabrication. Since they've never awakened themselves, they don't believe anyone has awakened. As I've told some monks, without enlightenment, you cannot even get the wondrous subtlety of worldly arts and techniques, much less escape from birth and death. There is a kind of acting as teachers spreading false talk who tell students, just preserve stillness. Asked, what thing is this preserving? Who is the still one? They say, the still one is the basis. Yet, they do not believe that the enlightened one exists. They say that the enlightened one is an offshoot, and quote this from Yang Shang. A monk asked Yang Shang, do people these days still make use of enlightenment or not? Yang Shan said, though enlightenment is not absent, nevertheless it falls into the secondary. Don't talk of dreams in front of fools. Then they understand this literally as a real doctrine, and say that enlightenment is secondary. Such people scarcely realize that Kuei Shan himself had a saying to alert students. Indeed, it's very cogent. Enlightenment is the standard for investigating the ultimate truth to the end. Where do those false teachers put these words? It's impossible that Kuei Shan was bringing up doubts and error to later people by having them fall into the secondary. Kuei Shan was Yang Shan's teacher. A talk to the assembly. An ancient said, great wisdom has no discrimination. Great function has no principle or phenomenon. Like the moon leaving its image on 1,000 rivers. Like a wave following the multitude of streams. But what is great wisdom without discrimination? What is great function without principle or phenomenon? Isn't great wisdom, asked one, answering 10, eloquence pouring out like a waterfall? Isn't great wisdom things like coarse words and subtle speech, all returning to the supreme meaning? Overturning the meditation seat and scattering the congregation with shouts, and hitting immediately when they hesitate in thought? If you understand in this fashion, don't say you're a patchwork monk. In the school of the patchwork monks, you are not even fit to be a servant who picks up the worn-out straw sandals and filthy bags. A spiritual friend with real experience and genuine awakening, who does not understand the great Dharma, can't avoid instructing people with his own realization and his own awakening when he helps them, and so he blinds his eyes. How much more so do those without the experience of enlightenment, those who've learned the words, blind people's eyes? It goes without saying. This matter is very difficult, even for immeasurably great people. When they get here, there's no place to join in. So how can a bunch of devils like you, with small faculties and no knowledge, dare to open your big mouths so carelessly? Try to sit in a quiet place and investigate in detail. In your heart, have you really arrived at a stage where you don't doubt, or not? If you haven't really gotten there, but I nevertheless acknowledge that you are able to let go and hold fast, and are not subject to being bent out of shape by others, then this type of teaching is called the mire of hell. Every grain of rice and stalk of vegetable brought by the donors of the 10 directions to give to you is just so that you will accomplish your work in the path, and proceed together with them on the vehicle of enlightenment. They seek reward in future lives. Do you not accomplish your work in the path? How can you consume their offerings? If all of you people want to perpetuate the ways of this school, you must know that one suchness of mind and objects, only then will you have a small share of realization. You shouldn't see me saying such things and then hide your eyes and act dead, forcibly arranging mind and objects in one suchness. Even with all your abilities, how could you arrange for this? Do you want to attain true one suchness of mind and objects? It requires an abrupt, complete break. Pick out the one inside your skull that's doing the false thinking. Take the 8 consciousnesses and cut it off with one blow. Naturally, you don't apply any arrangements. Haven't you read Master Yin Tao's saying, as soon as there's something considered important, it becomes a nest? All of you people have spent your whole lives in Chan communities inquiring after this matter, without any attainment, needless to say. Among you there are many with gray heads and yellow teeth, sitting in your nests your whole lives, without being able to come out, totally unaware of your error. Those who have become infatuated with the words and phrases of the ancients take amazing words and subtle phrases as their nest. Those who take delight in the verbal meaning of the scriptures take scriptures as their nest. Those infatuated with the nature of mind take the triple world as only mind, the myriad phenomenons only consciousness, as their nest. Those who become frustrated with quiescent silence without words or speech take shutting their eyes, the other side of the primordial Buddha, sitting motionless under the black mountain inside a ghost cave, as their nest. All the above have things they consider important, where their infatuations lie. Lacking the qualities of great men of power to step back and to recognize their error, they think of what they consider important as extraordinary, as wondrous and subtle, as peace and security, as ultimate, as liberation. For those who entertain such thoughts, even if Buddha appeared in the world, it would be to no avail. In the teachings they are called deluded, stupid, and confused. Why? Because you are deluded. You cling to the false as if it were true. Because you are stupid, you fall down into what you consider important and cannot move or turn. If there's nothing aroused in mind and no attachment to phenomenon, then there's nothing considered important. With nothing considered important, naturally you're full of raw-boned power, without desire or dependence, and master of the Dharma. So right now you want such realization. It's not hard either. Simply be equanimous in your mind, without any defiling attachments. What are defiling attachments? Thoughts of sentient beings and Buddhas. Thoughts of the world and leaving the world. Thoughts of seeking detachment and enlightened knowledge. All these are defiling attachments. Just boldly apply your spiritual energy before desire arises, and leap out with one single bound. This mind will be shining bright, alone and liberated. The instant you awaken to this, turn above it, then naturally it will be clear everywhere and revealed in everything. And when you get to such a stage, you must not watch over it. If you watch over it, then there's something you consider important. As soon as there's something considered important, this mind leaks. Then it is called the leaking mind, not the equanimous mind of even sameness. Even sameness means good and evil are equal. Turning away and turning toward are equal. Inner truth and outer events are equal. Ordinary and sage are equal. Finite and infinite are equal. Essence and function are equal. This truth can only be known by those who experience it. All of you people who haven't yet experienced it simply must do so. Only when you've experienced it completely can you be called a true leaver of home. Those whose minds don't experience this, and who seek the experience outside of mind, are called home-leaving outsiders. They're not fit to plant weeds. This mind is broad and vast, without divisions, without sides or surface. All the Buddhas, numerous as the sands attaining true awakening, the mountains, rivers, and the great earth, the profuse array of myriad things, are all within this mind. This mind can put names on everything, but nothing can put a name on it. Therefore all the Buddhas and ancestral teachers could not but go along with your mistake and attach names to it, calling it true suchness, Buddha nature, enlightenment, nirvana, imposing all kinds of appellations. Because in the world of you sentient beings, views are biased and insensitive, with all sorts of differentiation. They set up these different names to enable you, amidst differentiation, to recognize this mind that has no difference. It is not that this mind has differences. Buddha said, one may wish to reveal it with comparisons, but in the end there is no comparison that can explain this. Saying it's broad and vast has already limited it, to say nothing of wanting to enter this broad and vast realm with a limited mind. Even if you managed thereby to enter, it would be like taking a ladle to ladle out the ocean. Though the ladle was filled, how much could it hold? Nevertheless, the water in the ladle, before it went in there, was identical to the limitless water of the ocean. Likewise, because your world is just this big, and you feel satisfied with it, this limitless world adapts to your capacity and fills it up. It is not that the water of the great ocean is only this much. Therefore, Buddha said, it is like the great ocean, not deferring whether mosquitoes or titans drink its water. All get their fill. Mosquitoes and titans symbolize the difference between great and small. Basically, in essence, this mind doesn't have so many differences. Just don't create so many views, and recognize this mind. Then you'll be able to know all kinds of differences too. The former sages couldn't even hold to this mind as real. Outside of mind, what else is there real that can obstruct you? Today, I have dragged through the mud and water again. It's for lack of alternative. It's from old ladylike kindness, admonishing a beloved child, soothing a favorite son or daughter, that I've drawn out so many ramifications. I don't remember what I've said, and consider it right. Today, I speak this way, but then tomorrow I'll speak otherwise. As soon as you're thus, I am thus. When you're not thus, then I am thus. I'm sorry, I did read that wrong. As soon as you're thus, I am not thus. And when you're not thus, I am thus. Where will you search out my abiding place? Since I myself don't even know, how can anyone else find out where I stay? This is the living gate. You can enter only when you've put to death your fabricated reality. Footnote. According to Buddhism, what we customarily perceive as the world of outer objects and inner self is but the manifestation of force of habit, of seeds within the storehouse consciousness, rarefied through our acts within a set of causes and conditions. Yet, students these days consider a bit of zeal paying homage to the Buddha, upholding the scriptures and disciplining themselves in body, mouth, and mind as their sustenance, hoping to find realization. What does this have to do with it? They are like fools intent on going west to get something in the east. The farther they go, the farther away they are. The greater the hurry, the greater the delay. This is the gate of the great Dharma, unconditioned, undefiled, without accomplishment. If you arouse the slightest notion of gaining experience of it, you are running off in the opposite direction. How could you hope for it? Wanting to rely on some petty contrived accomplishments. Here at my place, it's oyster chan, As soon as he opens his mouth, you see his guts. The unusual jewels and unique gems are all right there. When he keeps his mouth shut, where can you find his crack? It's not a forced action. The Dharma is fundamentally like this. All of you should value the time, and each and every one take advantage of his physical vigor while it lasts, to exert his spirit and comprehend the Dharma completely. Don't take a liking to other people's marvels. The marvelous misleads people. Even if various poisons are in your mind and if the various poisons are in your mind and consciousness, don't say you've gained power. Another day, when you're dying, you won't attain instantaneous liberation as you die. How could you go on talking of being a match for birth and death? The afflictions of worldly ignorance are all limited. The moment you see through them, they are quiescent and extinct in their very essence. The afflictions of evil knowledge and evil views of attachment to the dust of the Dharma are limitless. They can obstruct your eye for the path and cause your mind and consciousness to slander the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha day and night, causing hellish karma. Though it's a good thing, it's turned around to bring on a bad result. Only great men of power, possessive wisdom, can see through the Dharma and not be afflicted by it. Haven't you read the great saying of Master Yunmen? Take the whole universe at once and put it on your eyelashes. As all of you people listen to such talk, I don't dare hope that you will come forth boldly and give me a punch. So, let's investigate it slowly and thoroughly. Is it existent or non-existent? What principle is this? Even if you could understand here, in the school of Patch Road monks, you should have your feet broken. If you were a man, a real Chan man, when you heard me say, where are their old adepts appearing in the world, you should have spit right in my face. If you don't act in this way, but accept things as soon as you hear someone bring them up, you've already fallen into the secondary. Again, haven't you read Master Lo Shan's saying? The mystic gate has no doctrines, establishes no general principles. If you want to search for it, look before the sound. All you disciples of Buddha, real mind is not fixed, and real wisdom is not bounded. Even if I let these two lips go on talking from now until the end of time without a break, you still can't depend on another person's power. This is a matter in which each and every person is fully sufficient in his own right, and can neither be augmented nor diminished the least little bit. The Buddhas and ancestral teachers attain it, and it's called the Dharma Gate of Great Liberation. Sentient beings lose it, and it's called the affliction of sensory troubles. Though attained, still it's never attained. Though lost, still it's never lost. Gain and loss pertain to people, not to the Dharma. Therefore the third ancestral teacher said, the ultimate path has no difficulties. Just avoid picking and choosing. Don't hate or love. Be lucid and clear. When there's the slightest distinction, it is as far as heaven and earth. If you want it to appear before you, don't keep to going within and going against. Don't keep to going with and going against. Each of you followers of Chan should think back. Have you ever put your mind to this and understood it? The ancestral teacher gave it a name, calling it the inscription of the mind of faith. He just wanted everyone to believe that this broad and vast, wondrous mind of quiescent extinction is definitely not attained from other people. Thus in it he said, if the one mind isn't born, the myriad phenomenon are without fault. No fault, no phenomenon, not born, not mind. Subject is distinguished along with objects. Objects are submerged along with subject. Objects are objects because of subjects. Subjects are subjects because of objects. He also said, the great path, its body is broad, without ease, without difficulty. And he also said, hold to it and you lose it, and are bound to enter false roads. Let go of it, and naturally, its essence has no going or staying. Just have faith in this one truth of mind. It cannot be grasped, it cannot be rejected. Then you should give up your body and your life right there. If you cannot give them up, just because of your own hesitancy, on the last day of your life, don't blame me. The weather is hot, and you've been standing a long time. Tahoe gave a shout and descended from the seat. And that's how the master left the room. This book is finished. I think I'm going to enter into a debate whether whether Banki should come before Foyan. Banki is a lot simpler, more on the surface of choosing our behaviors and realizing things like that. So I'll give that, a week or so to think about, and I'll finish up Starry River next week. Thank you for watching, joining me with Tahoe.